79.
79. Hey guys, welcome to episode Know Your Gear QA number 79. And real quick, I just want to thank some of the patrons that help us. It's Russ at Taurus Pedals, Brian Stewart, Lee Hawkins, Kermit Jackson, Steve Pinna, Bob Crosley, Aaron Anthony, Daniel Psychic, Andrew Goody, Anthony Desposito, BB Ninja, and Tony. I want to thank you guys for being some of the supporters, as many of the other supporters, as you can see right here, that support what we do every week. And thank you again. You guys mean a lot to us. So let's go ahead and get started with QA number 79. There's a bunch of you already on a Saturday, which is good. You never know if you guys got stuff to do on Saturday. If you want to hang with us and talk guitars, I'm going to move the screen just around a little bit so both Ralph and I can see it. And okay, so what we got going on? Anything cool this week? Anything cool with you this week, gear-wise?
No. Anything cool with you?
I got a new guitar. I didn't get a new guitar. I bought a new guitar. So next week I get a new guitar. If you guys, we talked about this, I think last live stream. I put it on the Instagram. I was looking at two Telecasters that I wanted. The American Professional Deluxe in the gray, and this old school one it was a used one, but it was like a quilted top. You can see it on Instagram. It was gorgeous. And everybody, I think the majority, like 60%, said go with the American Professional. That was easy for me because I really like that neck. But believe it or not, the last minute I changed my mind and got 3-color Sunburst. So nothing, no exciting color. But I was looking for a humbucker Tele.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with Sunburst.
No, nothing. You know what? Nothing's wrong with the Sunburst. So very excited about that. Hopefully you guys can hear and see us fine. Idev says, Phil, how's the Helix? The Helix is a lot of work at this point. I have the Helix, and if you can look behind me right there, I have that Variax guitar. See that? Look at that. That's the new one. That literally came yesterday afternoon. So I got to play with it a little bit last night. Me and Ralph played a little bit today. It's really too early to even know what we're even doing at this point. I'm just turning knobs and checking things out.
We haven't hit the read the instructions stage yet.
No, I mean, there's going to be a lot to this. Like I said before, when it comes to this kind of product, this isn't something, unfortunately, I can open the box and go, okay, plug it in and you go. Because if you don't spend some time with it, you may be missing the opportunities to like it, and also you might missing some opportunities to share some good information with other people. So, but I will tell you this: first impressions of the Helix, I like it very much. It took me only a few seconds to decide that I think I like the idea, and I'm excited about it. So that's where I'm now. I'm not like in love or anything. I'm not saying it's the greatest thing since, anything. I'm just saying at this point, first impressions are good. The guitar, first impressions are a little, because the guitar itself is cool, plays great, but the Variax thing is still kind of an odd thing for me. It's definitely, you got to tweak it right off the bat. And I promise when I do the review, I'll go through all that stuff. What else do we got going on? A couple things too that are cool is, hold on a second. We got the new video series where I'm doing the 5 products a week in one video. And I just had not the long one, it was, but I had the patron hangout this week. And during the patron hangout, I discussed this. So I thought, you know what, I probably should share with everybody what's happening next week on the episode where you see me review 5 pieces of gear. The plan with that video, by the way, which is it's a very dangerous thing that I'm doing because it is cutting into views doing it this way. But I really believe that quality over quantity kind of logic, right? Do something good. So what's going to happen next week? And on this week's episode, if you saw this week's episode where I did the Supro and the LPD pedals, what's great is on that one, it's already set up this way. But next week, what happens is when you watch that video of all the products and you see I do a snapshot of all the products, not only can you click and go directly to that product to watch that part of the video, you can click the longer version of that product.
Okay.
Yeah, so you already can do that now. Now, on last week's, you can only do it on the LPD and on the Supro amp. On the future ones, it'll probably be 4 out of the 5. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure one of the products, it got, the 3 minutes or 4 minutes it got was long enough. But what's great now is when you're watching the short format, if you're like, man, that's great, I wish there was longer for it, you just click the thing and you go right to the longer.
Yeah, because you're like watching, you're like, hey, I want to know more about this.
Now this, what I'm doing, and again, I'm just telling you guys because I'm really interested in what you guys think when you let me know, because I enjoy this. I've never seen anybody do this on YouTube, and I think it's a great way to show you guys a bunch of products, have a good time, and if you are more involved and you want to be more involved, you can, what a great way to see like 5 products and then go, wow, that one product was really cool. Click, there's a 10-minute, 15-minute video of just that one product. So there you go.
And the LPD pedal is awesome.
And the LPD pedal is awesome. He was playing the LPD pedal today.
Yeah, I came over, and I think that was the first thing I plugged in was that LPD.
Yes. RNA Music, hey, what's up, guys? He says, room is looking good. Thank you. I enjoy, like I said, I enjoy the room this way. I feels less cluttered this way. A couple amps to choose from. The pedals are here on this wall in front of us. There's just rows of pedals in front of us. Maybe I'll show you guys that one day, but I don't know. But I mean, so there's everything we need in the room to jam and have fun. Let's see. Oh, Aaron liked the Metal Zone video. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I wanted to have fun. That video was really, as you can imagine, I walked into a music store, saw that PQ4, and I bought that pedal. And I thought, you know what? It's kind of funny that pedal was discontinued, yet the Metal Zone was not. Kevin Paul says, I have the Line 6 pod, and I still don't know what is going on after 6 months. Yeah, I have the Line 6 pod, the kidney bean. And I'll be honest with you, I'm afraid. One of the things I plan to do, but I'm afraid of it, is I want to compare it against the Helix. Because, what's funny is I like the pod. I've always liked the pod. So I'm curious to see what 20 years of R&D and development Line 6 has accomplished. Because, what's funny to me is one day I use the pod from time to time. I have the old one. It's a 2.0, but it's the old one. It doesn't have the screen, right? It doesn't have
because I have the headphone one.
Yeah, you have the headphone one. And what's funny, to this day, I did a video real quick. I was just jamming on it, and I put it on Instagram. And that video has more comments about how great the tone is than any video I've ever done. And I thought, man, isn't that funny? Like the thing that,
Well, the pods were great. Even the pods were great even when they came out. And they said, I think those are one of the few digital effects that really kind of lasted and kept up its quality.
I think, because when you drive down to it, when you drive into it, you got Johnson, you got other companies that like Digitech and stuff that did digital, and they get their, they should deserve an accolade. But I think for me, I hate to say it, the Line 6 pod, that literally is the thing that's everything that is today. These modeling amps.
It started it all.
Yeah, it started it all. Like this was the idea, because and Digitech did experiment with the idea. Digitech had things where it's like, okay, this is a Soldano amp, and this is Steve Vai's tone amp and stuff. But man, it's like Line 6 really drove that logic home. You know what I mean? And to me, again, not to ever offend anyone, but sometimes you do. I, to this day, don't hear anything anyone says. When those modular things go, this is a Mesa Boogie and this is a Marshall and this is this, I don't hear a Mesa Boogie or Marshall. I hear tonalities that lend themselves to sound like those amps.
Yeah.
EQ settings and stuff. So to me, when somebody says, oh yeah, this is the Mesa Boogie, this is the Matchless, this is the Vox, to me, it's like when you remember when your first time, I don't know if you ever had one, but the first time I ever got a car and all of a sudden I noticed the stereo didn't have EQ anymore. It had settings like jazz, rock, blues, pop, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you just like, that's the setting for rock, you know what I mean? And you would just do that. To me, that's what these modeling amps are. It's a setting of EQ. It's like, oh, this is the Mesa setting. This is the Marshall setting. And it gets you there, but it's never the same, you know what I mean?
It's never the same if you match them up side by side with that amp.
Yeah, and so that's what it is for me. So there you go. But you know what? Maybe I'll spend more time with it and change my mind. And you never know. You know what I mean? Bellend is agreeing with you, man. The Line 6 Pocket Pod is amazing. Still use it every day.
Yeah, that's what I use. If I go anywhere, I take that with me. It's an old model too, but it works great. It does its function. It sounds good too.
Yeah. Oh, like I said, I agree. Like I said, I've always been a Line 6 fan to some extent. You know what I mean? I still like the DT25. I regret. That's you know what? Well, I never say it, but when people ask me about amps, I get rid of regret. DT25 is definitely in there. So, what else? Okay. Let's look for a question. You know, Bella Chi says, I bought the Line 6 pod after a recent Andertons video comparing it to the modern rig. I saw that same video, Bella. That's why I said I'm actually concerned, because when I watched the video, Andertons did this thing where they took like the Kemper and they took something else and they took the old pod. And to me, the pod sounded the best. You know what I mean? And even I think Lee Anderton was saying, oh, I think I'm liking the pod. So yeah. Oh, Tim's Farmer still got the DT50. See, it's a great amp. You know what I mean?
And for the price point.
Well,
that's the thing too, is it sounds good for the price.
Yep. I still and see Burton 56911 says Line 6 M5. I still have my Line 6 M5. It's in the hallway right now, but it's in the cabinet. But still have it, and I use it.
I'm amazed you actually remember where every pedal's at.
Yeah. I know. It's horrible. The Zim's Guitar said TC Electronics Petrucci Modeler pedal. That pedal, if I'm not mistaken, models just like a modulation effect. So it's, and somebody who has it clarify for me. My understanding is it's like the chorus, flanger, phaser, tremolo. Like it's a modulation type effect pedal. It doesn't model like amp sounds or distortions. Never tried it. You know, it's always looked so super cool. You know, what's funny was the first time Line 6 asked me to review some stuff, the first thing I thought of was like, I probably should ask them, see if they'll give me that Petrucci thing to check out. And I don't know. You know what I mean? I backed out. I chickened out. I was like, you never want to ask for too much. You know what I mean? You don't want to take advantage of a situation. Let's see. Yeah, see, an idea of saying the Helix is on a whole other level, it's component modeling. So again, that's why I'm spending some time with it. Like I said, I've had a good first impression with it right off the bat. I'm enjoying it. I've even been programming a little bit. It's been good. All right. So there's a couple questions. I want to get to a bunch of them. Hold on a second, you guys. And I want to also thank, hold on. I got to do a quick thank you. Hold on. Because there was a super chat and he just said, it was Craig. Craig just said cheers. Thanks, Craig. I appreciate that, man.
Cheers to you, Craig.
Cheers to you. And you know what? I feel horrible because Pyrocent Music sent us a thing before, did a super chat before, and I messed up their name then, remember? And they told me how to say it, and I still can't say it right. So it says, good batteries to power 3 pedals on the go. Good mini pedals for busking acoustic. Love the show. You know what, man? I'll tell you what I use without a doubt. I use 3 different batteries for my pedals. I use the Sanyo pedal juice because I bought that, one of the first ones. Still have it. Still running it. Love it. I have the Big Joe battery power supply. Still have it. Still love it. Use it all the time. And now I have the Warwick sent me one, the rock bag or rock case one, and it seems pretty cool. It's as good as the others. But if you watch the video I did a few months ago, I'll put it in the link in the description. There's a guy who makes a thing called the Bird Cord, which converts 5 volts to 9 volts. And you can use your, one of those batteries for your cell phone to power pedals. You know what? That's the way to go. $9. You get that cable. Maybe it's $19. I don't know. Somebody probably knows in the comments. Unfortunately, I didn't buy mine. They gave it to me. But absolutely love that cable. Love it for what you're talking about, for busking, for doing acoustic, for having a portable power. I use it now. So, I use that to use my, because you can buy on Amazon, you can buy for like $20 a really nice, like 3,500, 5,000 milliamp battery for your cell phones. You plug that cable in there. I put a daisy chain off of it. You plug 8 pedals. I power my Roland Minikube with it. So instead of buying batteries, in today's day and age, I'm like, every time I get product that has 9-volt batteries and AA's and stuff, it's like, it's a sigh. It's, to me, 10 years ago, it was like you never saw C batteries and D batteries anymore. Now, when I see 9 volts and A's, I'm like, this is just dumb, right? It all should just become rechargeable at some point. Yeah.
I do like the Big Joe pedal, the Big Joe battery pack.
Yes.
So,
yes. So there you go. All right. What else do we got? Phil Bradshaw, I haven't tried. He wanted to know if I tried the Boss DA2 adaptive distortion. I have not tried that. There's something, it's definitely a cool product, but I haven't tried it yet. Okay, there is another one from Sarang. Hey, Sarang, how's it going, man? It says, hey, guys, thoughts on the Digitech Freqout. My currency is rupees. Oh. Mentioning since you were wondering last week. So that's what we're talking about. Like, so it says 100 rupees. So yeah, I don't know what that equates to in US, but it's funny. I get to see later when it converts it. I haven't tried the Digitech Freqout. But the good news is lately, it seems like companies have been really reaching out to me like crazy, more than I've ever seen companies reach out to me before. I'm looking at the Freqout, by the way, at the same time that I'm talking. It is, I'm trying to see what it is. Hold on. We're going to screen share this real quick because it's so strange that I thought it would be worth checking out. All right. What do we got? This is it, guys. The Freqout Natural Feedback Creator. Oh, okay. Well, I'm a big fan of feedback. I usually get it from my amps. So I'd be curious to check this out. Especially I can see, this is probably a product that has a life now because of the fact that in-ear monitors and stuff, you know what I mean? You're not getting speaker movement. You're not getting the sonic frequencies through the air, so you don't get the feedback. But very cool. But back to, hold on. Let me go back to it so we can hit his question. Haven't tried it, but like I said, companies are been reaching out like crazy. Unfortunately, one thing about Digitech is they fired everybody. Did you know that?
I think I heard about it. I've never been a huge Digitech fan, so when I kind of heard about everything, I was like, eh.
Yeah, I mean, my understanding is nobody's running Digitech. But hey, if Digitech's watching, chime in.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Say something. But it feels like all of a sudden nobody's there.
Yeah.
So, okay, what else do we got? ER Webster says, first, your how-to videos have seriously upped my game when it comes to maintaining my instruments. So thank you. You're welcome. Thank you for letting me know that. Questions. What do you think of the Schecter Apocalypse pickups? I love their texture under high gain. What's funny is, let's take a look. Again, sometimes when you guys mention products, I know the names or I know the way they look. Okay, so this is, if I'm not mistaken, those pickups. I go to images. Is it there? Oh, yeah. So there's the ones. I haven't tried them. I'm really curious about them, though, because they're in the C7 Apocalypse guitar, right? As you know, especially I think Ralph, too. I'm a huge Schecter fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with Schecter on any level.
Because you guys know I like PRS too, but I like Schecter as much as PRS. I just do. I just wish Schecter had sometimes more colors to choose from.
And I think they've gotten better of that over the years. Adding the color variation, not just doing black, white, and red.
Yeah, forever. You guys gotta understand, because we used to sell a lot of Schecters. Forever, Schecters were black, red, and white. That was it.
Yeah, I remember at one of the NAMMs, I had to go up to the Schecter booth. I think it was the president of Schecter, because our rep goes, everything you told me, tell him. And I felt kind of bad because I hammered the guy, and I think we were the top or one of the top sellers of Schecters in the nation. And I had to tell him, I go, look, the problem isn't the fact that we can't sell Schecters, is we only got 3 colors to choose from. Right. So that kind of limits everything. And I talked for about like 10 minutes, kind of told him the perspective from what we had in the store. And nothing changed after that. Anyways.
Right.
I think it was like 2 or 3 years later down the road is when they kind of gave a little bit more color variations. But I just remember doing all that. And after hounding the guy, I was like, hey, do I get free passes to go see Papa Roach anyways?
Right. And then Kevin Paul says, wow, you have a church going. People are sending money. What a racket. Well, Kevin, you don't have to pay. Obviously, this is free. You're watching for free. It's the beautiful part about YouTube is I make content and you get to watch it for free. My 20 years of repair experience, I put it out there for free for you guys. Some people like to show, buy a shirt. throw a tip, just like if it was a tip jar. If you're an artist, I understand how you could feel that way. You're not required to do anything, so I understand. But I will say I don't really feel a whole lot of guilt. This morning I gave another guitar away to Veterans for Guitars, and I'll be talking about that. So I mean, I'm almost averaging one guitar every other month for charities and stuff. So I mean, that's how communities work. You help communities out. People help the channel. I push it on forward. So that's how it goes. But again, I understand if you don't like it. But I'm also not dumb enough to block people from sending me $1. So especially since YouTube, unfortunately, is a break-even game in the end. Okay, so what else we got? It says, Emilio says, hey, Phil, if you come to the UK, would you do a fan meetup? Yeah. The thing I'm doing now, that's the whole restring thing. When I did the restring event, that is in the idea is that if I ever go anywhere ever again, whether I go to Maryland or if I go to, Germany again or UK or wherever I go, I want to be able to do meetups like what, YouTubers do meetups, but I want to do what we did, which is, hey, I'm going to be in town. You have a store. Can I do a meetup there? I will do some restrings and services because you know what? The day, and those of you who were there at the event, again, thank you for coming out. That day we worked the 10 hours straight. That's what we did. We talked to people. Right.
Yeah. And even not even a restring, even hey, let's just check out the guitar, go through it.
Right.
Now just doing that, getting FaceTime with people.
Yeah.
Checking out a bunch of cool guitars.
Yeah. Right. I mean, what's cooler than, and I'll tell you this for me and Ralph, this is the secret sauce for us. The best part of the event was you guys bringing your guitars. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's the best way to start a conversation is like, hey, here's my guitar. And we're like, oh, cool. What? You know what I mean? And we can talk about it.
We've restrung enough guitars over the years.
Yeah. We're not doing. Yeah, we didn't do the restring event.
Like, hey, it'd be really cool if we did what we did before and just restring a bunch of guitars.
You know what's nice too? I'd like to point out something. That was a lot of guitars we restringed that day.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what hit me 2 days ago out of nowhere. Neither one of us hurt ourselves.
I thought you cut yourself.
Nope, I did not. Nope, I did not. So what's funny is I thought for sure. So you guys don't know if you were at the restring event, you may saw on the counter. There was this obnoxious bottle, this big, like 2-liter bottle of Perel that my wife made me take, right? Because she was convinced I was going to get,
like stabbed.
Something was going to happen, right? I have a tetanus shot on it, so I'm good. But you get the idea. So to clean my hands. And I thought for sure, because it's a very, it's kind of gross, but I promise we'll skip over quick. If you ever worked on guitars and you ever poked yourself, it stings for a second. It's not a big deal, right? You just deal with it. But it's an odd thing because you don't want to bleed in front of people, right? So you have to like.
It's kind of rude.
Yeah, you have to kind of clean it up and make sure. I mean, just like if if you're working in a kitchen and you cut yourself, there's a sanitary issue that you have to be aware of. So I'm very in tune to the fact that we can hurt ourselves and we have to be able to clean it up and continue on. So I was just excited about the fact that nothing like that happened.
Well, I also think the Purell was good for her because like Namm, the first year you went to Namm, you came back sick. And we learned after that to bring hand sanitizer because you're touching everything and moving around. And
yeah, at the Namm shows, what I do, which is what I give you every year, I give everybody that goes, man. If you know me and you're gonna bump into me at the show, I'll give you one. I carry these hand sanitizers that are on these belt loops, and you loop them through your belt, and so it's like a cartridge. You just reach under and squirt it in your hand. And so when you guys high five me, don't ever take it personal. I'll literally high five somebody, and before my hand swings out, I've already like squirted hand sanitizer in there.
It happened the last time we were at Namm. Like people were looking kind of funny at you. It's not against you. It's
because sometimes your brain doesn't. It doesn't process the way it should. So what happens is sometimes I'll shake somebody's hand or high five or whatever, and I don't realize that while they're still talking to me, I'm like, and it kind of looks weird, like,
is he a germaphobe?
Yeah, are you a germaphobe? But you gotta watch that stuff. So let's catch up.
So if you guys ever go to Namm or go to a convention, always that's a little tip, right? Hand sanitizer.
Oh, hand sanitizers is the key. There you go. All right, what do we got? So I'm jumping around some questions. I want to try to find a couple of good ones, and then we'll hit some of the super chat ones as well. Let's see. see anything good? I'm looking.
I know
so many
there
great
was.
ones.
I think it was from Andrew. He wanted to know about the Music Man behind me.
Oh, okay. What do you guys want to know? I'm reviewing it this week, if that helps. It's kind of I'm kind of scared to tell you guys because I don't want to ruin the video, but DiMarzio, I'm going to ruin it. DiMarzio sent me some pickups. They gave me some pickups. They're really nice pickups. I didn't have a guitar to put them in. This went on for months and months. I felt horrible that I never did a video and put them in anything. And the pickups were so nice. I feel like they have to go into something nice. Because I was afraid to shove them in something that I wouldn't play. And so I bought that guitar. The video is literally called The Most Expensive Free Pickups I've Ever Got, which Ralph understands the same pain of that. He had the same issue happen to him once. I'll tell the story, even though it's Ralph's story, and he can finish it. But so, one day when the Seymour Duncan rep was in the store, what did you ask him? Something about Scott Ian, right?
No, we were doing the pickup order and we were kind of going, hey, am I forgetting anything? And I were thinking I rattled off some pickups. Like, no, that's on orders. I go, what about the El Diablo?
Which is the Scott. Okay, so the El Diablo, for you guys that don't know, it's a pickup made by Seymour Duncan that was put into the Scott Ian from Anthrax guitar.
His Washburn signature guitar.
His Washburn signature guitar. So Ralph decides on his own, because Ralph usually doesn't do the ordering, to put it on the order.
Hold on. No. The truth was, you and the rep didn't believe me that this was a real pickup.
This is
and
also
we had
true.
to look it up, and I think it was the following Monday he had called you. He goes, yeah, this is a real pickup. We can do this. And you were like, well, Ralph wanted it, so all right, put it on the order.
Right. So what happened was the pickup showed up. I gave him his pickup.
No, I get a call from you first.
Oh, I did get the call.
Yeah, because I remember I was at work and I get a call in the middle of the day and Phil's like, hey, your pickup is in. I was like, what pickup? He goes, that's Scotty and El Diablo. I go, okay, that's cool. He goes, by the way, you owe me $204.
Yeah, that was the cost on it, $204. So what was worse was he had to buy the pickup because there was no way we could sell it.
No.
And then on top of that,
I think retail on that was like $260, $250.
Yeah. And then he didn't have a guitar because he didn't know what he didn't have. So he didn't have a guitar to put it in. So he had to buy a Charvel to put it in. Well, he didn't have to buy a Charvel, but he bought a Charvel.
I bought the Charvel, put in the Charvel, and then I had to have our buddy make me a new pick guard.
Oh yeah, Phil did that
because the pickup was physically bigger than a normal pickup.
Yes.
So yeah, so that $204 pickup cost me a Charvel.
Joe wants to know, how's your SG, man?
It's good, except for with all the high humidity, I got to polish the frets.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I went to play and it was bad. It was like they were like sandpaper.
That's easy enough to do.
So, yeah, no, not too difficult, but yeah, no, it's good. It's great. Sounds like AC/DC. Nothing wrong with that.
And then there's a couple questions here. So that was Joseph that says, nice Ernie Ball, Petrucci, which pickups did you install? I'm looking to swap out the pickups in mine. Yeah, so the pickups I put in there are I don't know. Hold on a second. This is horrible. They're the new, you know what?
I'm gonna grab it.
Yeah, we grab it. This is horrible. Like I said, please understand. Like I mean, it was a gift. The DiMarzio sent the pickups. These are the pickups. I think they're amazing. They're aluminum. They're cut out of aluminum. The covers. What happened was DiMarzio just liked a couple videos I did, and they sent me an email and they said, "Hey, we like your videos. We like that you're showing us support, and we'd like to send you some of these pickups." I happened to mention in one of the videos that I thought the pickup sounded fantastic in the guitar I reviewed, and they were like, "That was another reason for the pickups." So those are them, and I do like them more than the stock pickups. So there you go. The other thing is, okay, so Hannah has got a question. It says, if you build a custom guitar that needs to cover Strat, Tele, Les Paul sounds as close as possible, what would you put in it? There's a lot of great pickup sounds in there for that. But for me, that's why I play Strats with humbuckers. So to me, if I want a guitar that's going to give me everything, I get a Strat with humbuckers. But here's the deal. The humbuckers are the Les Paul sound. That's easy, right? The Strat is a coil split. Yep. Pop that up. to get the Tele sound gets a little trickier. That's going to be voiced in the pickup, so you'd be aware of that. But also the other thing is a lot of guitars don't have the option to have 2 single coils at the same time. You know, if you have 2 humbuckers. So I like to have it set up to where I can go to 2 single coils, because that's one of the things I like about Tele. You have a bridge, the two pickups, the outer 2, and then the forward position. So that's something to think about. That's how I do that on my guitars. All my guitars, so you know, I'm looking at it right now. Little tidbit. I don't know if it ever came up before. All my guitars are wired. That humbuckers are wired if they're on a 3-way switch. Humbucker bridge in the middle position. They're 2 single coils, not 2 humbuckers, and then the neck pickup is a humbucker. And then if I have a coil split switch, it only activates the neck pickup. That is how I do all my guitars. They've been like that forever. Because I like the 2 single coil, like Tele kind of sound for funk and stuff.
Okay.
And I don't really need the 2 humbucker sound. So I just use a super switch and it just does it that way. It's perfect. So all my guitars, when you see me, that's why it gets a little tricky sometimes in my demonstration videos. You know, people will say things about my switch, and I'm like, yeah, but I don't leave things stock. I wire it because I really like the humbucker, 2 single coils, and humbucker sitting. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Music Man, wherever it is, that blue Music Man over there is wired up that way as well. So there you go. All right. The other question is okay, so Jonathan's got a tough question, man. This is tough. I don't know if you know the answer to this one, Ralph. I'll give my best shot. It says, what's the major difference between a GT12 and a V30? Those are Celestians. What I can tell you is I have both those speakers. I prefer vintage 30s. That's what I prefer of the two. There's going to be other inputs on that too. But to me, the GT12s are more, and some people are going to probably have the exact opposite experience, but my experience is they're really in the highs. There's a lot of fizz and there's a lot of low end. And the vintage 30s are actually known for that too. But for me, the vintage 30s have more of the mids for me. So something to think about. But what I like on videos like this is it would be awesome if you guys who have experienced the 2 pickups could also chime in with your thoughts on that too. Because the only thing cooler that is to hear somebody's opinion is to hear a couple people's reference of it. And Jonathan, if that helps. I don't dislike the GT12s. As you heard me say earlier, I have some of them. There are some amps that I have to have them. I believe my Archon combo has them. I don't think I switched it to a vintage 30, but I prefer vintage 30s. And also, this is another thing too, and this is kind of an important thing to speak about when you're talking about speakers. Sometimes speakers are about familiarity. For me, vintage 30s, I've been using them for so long, it's kind of like a tube screamer. It's like home.
It's what you know.
Yeah, it's what you know. So that's sometimes I think I've said this before in a video. Sometimes I use vintage 30s. It has nothing to do with actually liking them. It just has to do with
it's comfortable. It's where you've been. It's what you know about.
Yeah. Well, for me, what's nice is if I put them in an amplifier or in a cabinet and I use the amplifier with them, it's like what do you call it? I know what the speaker sounds like. So from that, I know what the amp sounds like. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Good.
I've also seen, like, I've seen people struggle with like, oh, I'm going to put this speaker into this cabinet because it should sound like this. And then it doesn't. So I also think, not just with speaker, what kind of cabinet is it going into?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely agree. Okay, so, I don't want to do these out of order. Okay, HK says, hey, Phil and Ralph, any pedals incorporate delay and reverb in one compact pedal? I like to check out what's out there. Ooh, compact pedal, that's the tricky one. I was going to say the Keeley. Ralph's not a pedal guy.
Yeah.
So pedal questions will never work.
No, I'm like, Metal Zone. I'm like, put a Metal Zone in there with a digital delay. You're good. That's all you need.
So here's the question. How many pedals do you own?
A Metal Zone?
Do you have a Metal Zone?
I do. I still have my Metal Zone. A digital delay.
Which digital delay?
Boss DD.
Whatever. 7. Okay.
Trying to think. My Crybaby Wah.
Okay.
I'm gonna count that as a pedal still.
Yeah, that counts. Of course.
I think I have a chorus pedal.
Yeah.
That's about it.
And you have a Nathan East parametric EQ pedal.
Yeah,
I know because I have it.
And a bass overdrive.
And a bass overdrive. Yeah, so he's not a pedal guy.
Yeah, that's.
But for me, pedal and delay in one, I like Keeley's pedal that has delay in one. The Wampler makes one as well. That's I've heard is pretty good. I've never tried it, but the Keeley one I have tried and it's amazing. So there you go. For me, I just use different reverbs and delays. You know what I mean? I don't use an all-in-one pedal, although I love the idea of an all-in-one reverb and delay. Okay, so.
Oh, I like this guy.
What guy? Eddie says, hey, Phil, I'm starting to a Stray Cats tribute, and I'm trying to decide between a $3,000 Setzer signature and a $900 Gretsch G Series. Any input? Well, I've owned both.
And I've picked it out because we've discussed this for years.
So what's your verdict? $3,000 Gretsch or the $900
The $900 Gretsch.
Yeah, that's where I landed too.
Yeah, I mean, don't be wrong. The Setzer is nice. It's a gorgeous guitar.
Yep.
It plays great.
Yep.
But the $900 Gretsch,
yes,
definitely worth the price.
So here's what's funny about this, Eddie, and maybe it'll help you. Ralph came to that conclusion many years ago. Messing with the Gretches, he just decided out of nowhere he bought one of the electromatic Gretches, right? And that's where he landed. Me, I ended up owning about 6 Gretches over time, 3 Setzers, by the way. And you know what happened was they were all amazing. There was not a single Gretsch, a Japanese-made, high-end Gretsch that I ever had an issue with. It was exactly what you see behind you right now. I would play that electromatic. Well, whatever. You get it. It's blue. And I would play it. And I could tell that the Japanese one was better. There was no question in my mind that the Japanese Gretsch is better. The problem was, it was, for lack of a physical way to explain it any other way, it was 20% better, but it was 80% more money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It was like it didn't equate correctly. So here's that's where I landed. But you got to discover it on your own. But I think it's a real testament to how well made the Electromatic and the G Series Gretches are. They're tough to beat. So there you go. And to be honest with you, no one cares except for the other musicians. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's
and
up
especially
to you.
You had that Sigma before because it used to say Electromatic on the headstock.
Yes.
But now it doesn't.
Yes.
So unless it's another Gretsch player,
yes,
they will never know the difference.
So here's the funny part. I agree with him 100%. One of the things that held me back from Electromatic guitars before was they used to say Electromatic on the headstock, and I used to hate that. And then they took it off. The new ones don't say that. And the G Series don't disclose either. None of the lower series disclose that they're the lower series now. The only thing they do is the headstocks are painted a different color. The other thing is that I honestly believe this. You could take the Electromatic that I have, which I've never done this to it, but you could put TV Jones in it and a more expensive, more accurate Bigsby, not the licensed copy. And man, that's a tough guitar to beat. It's tough. So again, if you're comfortable, buying a $3,000 guitar, I say do it. But if you're having an issue detecting a quality difference, well, we were there with you, man. Yeah. That's just how it goes. There is, what else we got? Oh, that jumped around for a second. Okay. Oh, Van, great question. Hey, Phil, have you ever noticed EQ differences on the same amp, but in different volume levels? Absolutely. We both noticed that. So, one thing that you realize when you're dealing with amps, especially tube amps, man, tube amps are the biggest culprit of this. There is, no matter how well they manufacture an amp, how consistent, there's just, the amps are slightly different. And I've experienced that. Like, I've experienced where you can set all the settings the same on 2 amps, but they sound slightly different. And that's just probably components. Sometimes they change out components. That's why there's descriptions on the bottom of every catalog and website that says they have the right to change, specifications without any notice or disclosure. So that happens. So, Yeah, so you're not crazy if you're hearing that. It's basically it. But you know what it is? I've never noticed enough to like, wow, this amp sounds great and this sounds, bad. It was just weird. Like we would detect that would be slightly different. Let's see. Oh, Cheddar's got to go. Sorry, Cheddar. So see you next show. Ken just got the Blackstar Fly 3. Thanks for the awesome recommendation. Love your show. Yeah, I still love. Oh, I'm loud because I'm probably by the mic. Still love and play my thing. And you know what I love about this amp the most, besides it sounds fantastic, is that I haven't changed the battery in like a year and a half. Look at that. It just sits here and I plug into it real fast and this is still great. This is so great. I'll tell you how great this is. This is so great that I keep telling every company no. All these little plastic guys, they'll send me a thing. Hey, you want to review this? No, you're not going to beat this. This guy, the Blackstar guys nailed this. The only complaint, which I wish I would have said in the video, but I didn't know. The dumbest thing about this amp is the DC plug-in is proprietary.
Yeah, that is kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why would you do that?
It's horrible. Blackstar, you know what? You know what? It makes me almost want to not recommend it. Thank God. Blackstar, I'll tell you, because of stuff like that, what happens is the first time somebody makes one as good as yours, I'm jumping ship. But it hasn't happened yet. So it's been a while. So you guys get to, because it doesn't come with a power supply. You got to buy theirs, and it's not special. It's 9 volts, right?
The proprietary.
But it's like,
plug.
It's a proprietary shape. You know what I mean? Whatever size, so it doesn't fit. I'm like, it's dumb. Anyways, all right. Let's see. Jake wants to know, curious to know how often I work on bass guitars. Will we ever see bass Sharpen my axe? Bass Sharpen my axe is coming. It is. There's acoustic Sharpen my axe and bass Sharpen my axe that is coming. In fact, there's no guarantee. There is supposed to be a Sharpen my axe finished editing if I get it done tomorrow, next week. If it doesn't get done, it's the following week. But there is one. It's in editing. I got to edit it up. The as silly as it is, the videos I make, I spend more time editing them than I do making them. So a lot of times when you hear me say, "Oh yeah, I have this video done," it's because I filmed it. It's just editing. Speaking of this, the patrons, that's what they get to see a lot of time. They probably see it more than anybody else. That Metal Zone video I did 5 versions of that video, and the patrons actually got to see 3 versions of it. They understand what I'm talking about, how many times I actually re-edit something, because I'm trying to get the feeling right and the information right. I don't know. I'm trying to be proud of my work. That's all. Trying to make something I enjoy, and I hope you guys do enjoy as well. Okay. On that note, let's make sure we're not missing other questions as well. What do we got? Hannah says, how about a difference in different wirings video? Yeah, the different wirings video, the repair videos are all taken care of now. There won't be any more issues with repair videos because of something that's going to happen soon. I'm going to be there's going to be more than enough Phil McKnight repair videos. And now when I say soon, I mean by October. By October, there won't be. I mean, I'll still be having videos that you guys want me to make, but I promise you an inventory of videos that will just see. I'm only going to answer because it's like I get you guys when you answer the question over and over again. It says exterminate Christians. Well, okay. So anyways, that's his sign on. Anyways, it says seen this ask 100 times without response. Did you get your Gelvin guitar? The Gelvin guitar, how that ended up going down was, William was trying to finish the guitar for me. I personally, again, reached out to him again and said, don't worry about it. That's where it lied. Like I said, nothing's changed since the last interaction I've had with William, which was don't worry about it. I even put a public notice on one of his videos. Somebody was giving him a hard time about it, and I said, look, I'm not upset about it. There is no issue, right? There's no bad blood with him and me, and there's no issues at all. I wish him all the best, and I hope that he's able to continue to do what he guitars and do what he loves. this is a hard industry, man. That, you know, sometimes people miss out on this. I think that's what people maybe don't understand. I've been in this industry for 15 years, right?
Yeah.
Ralph as well. You know, it's 60 hours a week to make a nickel in this industry. And unfortunately, it kills a lot of people. You know what I mean? Because it's a passion industry. You know what I mean? It's not, a lot of people come into this industry and with the hopes that they have this such great passion, they want to do something with it. And then if they could just make a living doing it, then they can spend all day doing what they love. And who doesn't hate that idea, right? Isn't that the dream, to do something you love to do all day? But the reality is, it's a tough business. Like a lot of businesses are tough. I'm not excusing any other businesses and saying they're easier. I'm just saying this business eats and chews up a lot of people.
Yeah,
so
it's a tough business in a small market.
Yeah, and then last on the William thing, and maybe that'll kind of help everybody if you know that's curious about that situation. Here's the deal: he's done everything he can do to do what he's trying to do. Does it make sense? You know, he's out there, he's working it. And that's why you understand, I've been in this business. I've made guitars. I've sold guitars. I do YouTube now. You know, I mean, I obviously work with other companies. This week alone, I work with 4 companies, you know what I mean? In an action, you know, for commission. And the reality is, it's tough. It's tough business. Any of you guys thinking about getting into it, I can honestly tell you, it's amazing. You'll love it. It's awesome. You'll work all the time and it might not work out for you. And that's something you have to take into consideration. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just it's just the reality. You know what I mean? So that's where that is with that. You know, what I told him also is if he ever did make it, or if he wanted to send me one, I would review it. And then I'd like to do something with it, you know, maybe do some promotion with it or something. But again, that was in conjunction with the statement. Like I said, you know, don't worry about it. I have guitars, you know what I mean? You know, I don't make a lot of money, but I make enough money to have this collection. So I'm fine. Okay. So anyways, let's go to the next one. So I hope that covers that, because I did see it pop up a couple times. I just was, you know, there's a lot of comments. I try to get to as many as I can. What else? Okay, wait. Okay, D-Rock 8775 says, do you ever think that the unpopularity of rock music has to do with the preoccupation of gear over compositions? Do you understand the question? Am I reading it wrong? Do you ever think the unpopularity of rock music has to do with the preoccupation of gear over compositions? Well, I don't agree with the statement. If I'm understanding the statement correctly, I don't agree with it. Here's the logic. I love this. It's a statement. Just, you know, everybody's got an opinion. Here's mine. When people watch a channel like this is a gear channel. We talk about gear. Yeah. When guys watch a gear, or ladies, we all watch gear channel like this. Some people say, hey, instead of talking about gear, you should go practice. I agree with that. I practiced this morning. So, you know, I practice 2 hours a day, every day. Ralph can, right? You know me for 20 years. I play, man. Everyone I know, my daughter for breakfast this morning told her friend, my dad always plays guitar, right? She was, you know, complaining. I play all the time. I will literally, if my wife tells me she's running the store for 5 minutes, I look at that I'll dart into a room and start practicing and playing guitar. So I play guitar and I work on what I want to work on. So understand that these conversations I'm having now, and I hope this is for a lot of you out there, and if not, maybe something to think about. I look at like this. When we're here talking about gear, especially on YouTube, this is the same as watching sportscasters talk about sports. It's like you love sports, right? Yeah. This is what I kind of think about. If you love sports, you like playing sports and you like watching sports, and then you like analyzing sports, right? Yeah. Okay. So that's how I look at this same arena. I like playing guitar. I like watching guitar players play because I go to concerts all the time, and I like analyzing guitar, right? That's the fun of it. I just want to talk about guitar all day to the point where I make everybody crazy. So, because, you know, you guys are great. You're as crazy as me. We're all talking about guitars on a Saturday. But let me tell you, you know, not all, not everybody around me loves guitar all the time. So I understand where your comment is, but I don't think that talking about gear hurts music, because I think it's I don't think it's or. I don't think it's like people talk about pedals and then they don't play music. I think people play music. You can only play music for so long. George Lynch said this great thing to us. Remember when he said, he was talking about practicing, and he said, sometimes you practice so much you paint yourself in a corner. So the best thing to do is not play at all.
Yeah. And I think that I think there's a difference between the gear and the music. We've been to shows with the people. We were like, hey, what are they playing? Nobody else cared about our conversation.
Yes.
So because I just want to kind of see what roadmap did they take to get to that sound. I don't think it means I'm going to go out and judge them by what gear they used. I was just I'm curious on how did they get that sound? That's a cool sound. What did they use to get there?
Yeah, right. Isn't that great? Yeah. I love it. It's funny is, and again, hopefully some of you are as crazy as me, and hopefully you guys are not as afflicted as me. I like, Ralph will tell you, I'll go to a concert. I love going to music concerts. I'll go to a concert, but I am going to tell you, I'm the first one with my phone out and I'm reading off. Actually, I should point out before I wrap this out, I have a friend that if we go to concert with him, he always has the set list. Like that's his mission. It was Frank.
Yeah.
Frank always gets the set list. So when we go on the show, he's like, just so you know, they're going to play this, then they're playing this, and they're playing this. Like he always tries, his mission is to figure out what the set list of the night is. While he's doing that, my mission is like, so he's on stage and he's got a PV 6505. He's running it into, because.
And then it's wait, are you sure it's a 6505?
Yeah. And then
let's look up there. How close can we get to the stage to make sure?
To check it out. Yeah. And not because we care about the gear more than music. It's like, to me, it's like this one big, enchilada, right? It's everything.
It's everything that comprises of it.
Yeah, it's just fun. I that's why I love rig rundowns. Not because I like gear, because I love watching musicians and what they use and why. To me, it's like I use this analogy all the time. It's like chefs and ingredients. Why that ingredient and not this ingredient? Not because I want to copy or emulate them, because I already know what I'm going to do. I just want to see how you did it, how to get there. So yeah, I understand the concern. But I will tell you, D-Rock at 8775, one thing that I will tell you that may maybe understand why you're thinking that way too. One thing I can tell you is there's a ton of musicians that I do meet that are really talented musicians, and they have no understanding of gear. And what I mean by that is it doesn't concern them. They don't even care. You know what I mean? I won't say, because I don't want to say this because it was a private conversation, but a musician just a couple weeks ago was telling me, like, he's like, I don't even know what tubes are in my amp. Like, you wouldn't even tell you if they're, right? And he doesn't care, because to him, he turns the amp on if it sounds good. You know what I mean? And I think that's fine.
He spent more time practicing than he did about the gear. And that was one thing I noticed at the store, was the guys that could play amazing just had no idea anything about gear. They're like, what's this? What does that do? You're like, what's this about?
Now, I will tell you another thing, and this ties into something that me and Ralph can both attest to in the environment we were in. We both can tell you that there is something that's, and I almost feel like I'm giving you a secret, so but it's true. The people that went to our store and then signed up for lessons and took lessons, the longer they took lessons, the less gear they bought. The better they got, the less they purchased. It was almost interesting, because the business model in your head says, teach people guitar, get them in lessons, and then they buy all the time. And the reality is the ones that really took lessons and really took to learning guitar bought less. And the reason is because everybody's a collector. That's my theory. And so sometimes you're collecting pedals, and sometimes you're collecting guitars, and sometimes you're collecting picks and stuff. But sometimes you're collecting riffs, and sometimes you're collecting information. You know what I mean? You can collect anything. You can collect. There's nothing wrong with collecting information. You know what I mean? So you could see all of a sudden the mentality going, instead of buying a different pedal every week, I'll learn a different scale every week. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're still collecting. It's just collecting in their head information. And both cost something, but the lessons cost less, I think, in the long run, you know what I mean, than the gear. But, that's just something to think about, if it helps. Hopefully.
Don't know if that actually answered the question, but.
Yeah. Or we just maybe
just rambled on for 5 minutes. It's cool.
So, and then Pyrocent Music says, hey, I haven't missed your super chat. So, on the super chats, I'll just say you guys, so super chats, the best thing about them is they're pinned. So I have them in a totally different screen right now. What I'm looking at is different than what you guys are looking at. And so I won't miss the super chats. I missed the super chat last week. So, right at the end. And that's a good segue to actually mention that. That was from J Squared Productions. See, that's what I said. I can't ever miss a super chat. He says, hey, Phil, love your work. I bought an Epiphone Jazz box from GFS. I can't identify it, though. Can you help? And so on that question, I can help, but I need to see it. I think maybe you need to send me a picture. So please do that to the Ask Know Your Gear crew. What's nice is I have help now on the Ask Know Your Gear. And that's a good segue for two things, because there's two things that I'm supposed to mention, and I want to mention them because they're important, because there's people now working the Know Your Gear website, and they're putting in a lot of hard work. The new articles, the history of gear up. In fact, I'm going to show you guys just so you guys know, because this is to help you guys. So again, the whole point of the Know Your Gear website is to build community, right? Is to improve things. Hold on a second. And what I want to show you is this. You guys out there, I know some of you have channels. Some of you have bands, right? What I'm going to show you, this is the Know Your Gear website. You can go to it. It's knowyourgear.net. Because it's not a commerce site, right? We're not sell stuff really.
It's a network.
It's a network. So here you can go to the main page. There's all kinds of stuff. You want to see the pictures of the t-shirts and stuff like that. There's the history of gear. If you click that, we have different articles. This week was the metal zone. Are you in the zone? You know what I mean? These are amazing articles that are written by our own in-house writer. And but the tab that I want to show you guys is shout outs tab. If you have, anything that you want to share with the community, it's a bulletin board. Send it to Ask Know Your Gear, and we'll be updated there. You can, if you have a YouTube page, if you have product, maybe if you have a band, we want other musicians, we want everybody in the community to see this stuff. Again, I'm just building a community thing. And that's all. So I thought I'd share that with you guys, especially. And then that's what's going to help with the Ask Know Your Gear questions. When you send them to me, what happens now is there's people that are reading those questions. So be aware of that, because there's even a thing that tells you that. But what's great now is they answer the question. They do a great job. If they can't ask the question, or if they feel the question is too personal to me, something directly towards me, it goes into a queue for me. And they let you know that they got the question and that it was put in the queue. And I try to take two times a week and clear the queue. That's my plan, right? So again, trying to organize this, trying to improve the community, trying to connect with you guys, man. That's the whole point of this. That's what's great about this new world. Okay, so let me hit another question, and then we'll dig for go into the super chats. But I want to try to find some people that have been putting some great questions out there as well. Let's see. It's like when you need a question, you can't find one. Let's see. That. So Adsol says, thoughts on the Fender Flea active jazz bass. Looks like the most unique Fender signature in a while. I like it. I've played it. I've always thought Flea has a great tone. You know what I mean? That to me, it's like Flea's tone is so good that it's almost fake sounding. Like when you hear like Seinfeld, that fake keyboard slapping tone, it's like when you hear Flea, man, it's so polished and perfect. It's something that he's always mastered. And so, I have a funny story. So Adsel, and that's why I thought this was a good question. This is the funny story. So if you don't know this, Flea for a long time played modulus. I've played many moduluses. I've owned many modulus over the years, and moduluses are graphite neck basses, and they're really expensive and they're really nice. And he's played them. And when he stopped playing them, he started playing Flea basses. And they were really horrible. And and I say that because we bought, 8?
I think it was 12.
12. We bought 12 for our store Flea basses. They were so horrible
because we were like, oh, these are things going to be great. So
Right,
we were thinking ahead, like we're getting on this bandwagon first.
Yep.
We know how this is going to go.
And we were wrong. So, but here's why this is how we know they were horrible. We got them and they were really horrible. And we called them up and said, these are so horrible, they have to go back. And they said, well, then just keep them. So we kept them. We gave a couple away. We sold a couple disclosed as, we didn't think they were really great. And then we traded them off to another store too, trying to figure out what to do them because we couldn't even sell them, and it was like
in good conscience, you didn't want to sell them.
Yeah, that was the problem. It was like, you think in the story that I'm telling you, you're like, wow, they gave you 12 guitars, but they gave you 12 crappy guitars. So you have to then sell them, you know what I mean? And so if you're, or what, you can't destroy them. And we would fix them up. We fixed them up. But this is why the story connects. When they asked Flea, they were asking Flea, I guess, at the Namm show, and I was there when they were like, hey, are you really going to play these Flea basses on stage? And he says, no. He goes, I'm going to still play my modulus on stage. He says, no, these Flea basses are for the students and for the customers. And, and he goes, and I might play one here and there. And he goes, but I've been using my same jazz bass in the studio all these years. So when he went to Fender, it was a really interesting thing because that Fender bass is really the Flea tone. You know what I mean? He uses a Music Man sometimes in the studio, but I guess he said that day, again, I'm going off what he said. He said he's been using the Fender jazz bass for that tone, which is interesting to me because I bought a custom shop modulus Flea bass. Remember that crazy one I had to get his tone, and it was the furthest thing from the sound I could get for him. And I have a Fender jazz bass, and I always thought I could get the Flea tone out of it. So it was, to me, it was like, that makes total sense. So there you go. Let's go ahead and Presley Press just said, just because, did a super chat. I appreciate that. You guys, I appreciate it. Like I said, don't have to do it, especially if you have questions and stuff. Josh says, hey, Phil, looking for a good quality Floyd to add to my early 90s Sambora Strat project. Go to 1996 T, Schaller, Lockmaster, or original Floyd. Any recommendations? The Floyd is going to be top mounted. Yeah, my recommendation is German. Some people are like the old Floyds are better than the new Floyds. Everybody's going to have opinions about this. Some of them I have a really good friend who's what I call a Floyd master. He knows everything about Floyd you could ever know. And I would trust his opinion, which is definitely more involved than mine, which he's really hardcore about the Floyds and how they're made. But my personal experience, if it's made in Germany, it's good. However, I hear good things about some of the higher end Korean ones. But I'm going to tell you, just in my opinion, I've never played a bad German Floyd Rose, even the new ones by Schaller. So that's, I think you're fine. Now, I also tell people, if you can't buy a nice German Floyd Rose, the very least you should do is buy the arm assembly. You can buy just the Floyd arm assembly, the German made one, it'll fit better, and that's great. But yeah, so do that. Jordan says, what do you think of the Hall of Fame mini reverb?
It's nice. It's cool.
Yeah, of course.
I like it.
I have the full size right here. I have the full size. What's funny is I have the full size, but I think the mini would probably be better.
I thought you had the mini too.
I did have the mini. I sold it a while back. And what happened was I got the Hall of Fame 2, full size. And so I got rid of the mini, but I kind of wish I had the mini and not the full size now. Because really what it is, I just set it to one thing. I grab the one sound and go to it.
It's a nice little reverb pedal. Yes.
AB036, this is a tough one. It says, hey, Phil, your thoughts on tube rectifiers and sag. So obviously the question, if you guys don't know what he's talking about, on amplifiers, there's solid state rectifiers and there's tube rectifiers. A good example is I believe my Fender 65 Deluxe has a tube rectifier. I prefer tube rectifiers sound-wise, but I don't need them. You know what I mean? A lot of things I think are preferences, right?
I think everything's a preference.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like this does sound better, and I would prefer it, but I don't need it. You know what I mean? And the reason I say that is because that's one thing that happens with inexpensive tube amps to me is there's inexpensive amps are missing a lot of really important factors that the expensive amps have. But sometimes when I'm playing, I'm like, I don't know, they sound fine. So it just depends on what you're doing. There's a compression that happens with amps that have tube rectifiers that I love, though. But I don't know. And then Pyrocent Music. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong again. Pyrocent, right? I don't know. If I'm saying it wrong, we'll get it right.
Frysent? Isn't Pynf?
Frysent? Frysent Music.
Again, Arizona Public Schools.
I know. It says, hey, Phil, brand new twin reverb. Pop when turning the vibrato channel. Bad tube? Yep, absolutely. How to fix tube rattle. I saw foam tube dampener rings. Yeah, that'll help too. Most tube rattle tubes are by nature junk. You know what I mean? The majority of tubes are just junk. In fact, I've seen people and they're like, I got a bad tube, and they put another tube in it and they go, oh, it's, they go, something's got to be wrong with the amp because this tube's bad as well. I physically, just preamp tubes, not even talking about the problem with power tubes. I physically bought 10 preamp tubes and literally had all 10 be bad. Have you ever had that?
No. And isn't a tube amp the only thing that ever still uses a tube?
No, tubes are pretty much high-end audio, and amps are pretty much what's left.
So pretty much amps.
Yeah. And something to realize about tubes is, maybe you guys don't know this. It's an interesting kind of fun fact for you. You always hear there's only like two, there's only like two tube companies or three. The reality is tube companies are about testing tubes. So like, that's right. The story, there's like 3 tube manufacturers in the world. They make all the tubes and they send them to companies like Groove Tubes and JJ and Electro Harmonics and, Mesa Boogie and each company, what they're selling you is their testing ability, their ability to test tubes and figure out which tubes fit into certain ranges, and also make sure the default rate is in line. And I've been told by serious people, in the tube section of the industry that I really trust, that if I think that the deficiency rate of the tubes that we see are bad, you should see what they're filing through on their end. And that's part of the problem with tube amps. So their tube amps are just a disaster. You know what I mean? Because tubes, I've heard all kinds of amp builders tell me that tubes will eventually kill tube amps. It's like, it won't be digital. It won't be this stuff. You know what I mean? That wins. It'll just be tube amps. Getting tubes becomes such a problem. Getting good tubes becomes such a problem that this tube amps can't continue on. I don't know if that's true, but I have no reason not to believe the guys there.
It's what, 70-year-old technology that we still use?
Yes. Troy says, hey, Phil, I have a Boss heavy metal 2 pedal from 1984 made in Japan. Have some issues breaking down the level. Can you fix it? Did you clean it? I cleaned that stuff. That's really like, I don't work on pedals at all. So I have no idea. It's a thing I've kind of stayed away from. In fact, most of the guys I know who build pedals don't want to fix them. That's what's kind of funny. So there you go. Another thing that might be interesting here today is I thought it'd be fun to do something fun to thank you guys for coming on a Saturday. Hold on a second. So what I'm going to do is take a second and let's do a giveaway. We've never done that on these shows, on the live shows. So I thought I'd like to do that. How should we do the giveaway? Just pick a random winner or ask them a question?
Yeah, we just have everybody make a comment, then we just randomly pick someone from the comment section.
Should it be a question?
As long as they comment. As long as there's a comment in there that we can just kind of randomly
But how do you scroll and pick it? That'll be tricky. Never done a live drawing before. So, and I'll be honest with you, it was like 5 minutes before we went on here. I told Rob, I go, hey, you want to give something away today? We'd like, give away my urge bass. Never. Not gonna do it. The answer is false. Let's see. I don't know. Right? What?
I would go right there.
Comment.
Yeah.
Put the
that
word
was
comment.
it to me. That's
comment.
The winner.
What's the giveaway? Hold on. Okay. This is not a comment. Man, I should have thought of this before I started saying stuff. What am I giving away? Here's what I'd like to give away. I'd like to give away one of the toolkits I reviewed this week. right? One of these. Ta-da! This is one of those cool toolkits that are reviewed. Ta-da! And I thought it'd be fun, right? Because it's something that if you win it, you can work on your guitar and improve your guitar. So something really cool, and I want to do it to the guys and the gals that are hanging out right now to say thank you, because I know, obviously on the rebroadcast of this, there's a lot of people that watch rebroadcast, and a lot of you guys downloaded it on iTunes and SoundCloud, and that's cool too. But I want to say thank you to the ones that are crazy enough to hang out on a Saturday.
Yeah, and be like, hey, it was Saturday at 3:00 East. It was Pacific time.
So there you go. Let's see. Yeah, it's really scrolling fast. Maybe I should make Ralph just pick it. What do you think? What do you think? You want to pick one?
Yeah, I'm going to go back up to the original comment that I picked out, which is, I don't know where it's at now, because I'm a jerk.
Oh, yeah, that'd be tough. Well, yeah, who put the original word comment?
I don't know.
Just to be fun. We'll make it that silly.
Yeah, it was the word. Whoever that was got it in there.
So Ralph obviously wants to reward sarcasm.
Yeah.
No, see, random comment was first.
Oh, I think this was the one I picked out because it actually just said
comment. So is that what you want to go with?
I don't know.
It's your choice. You pick.
You know what? Yeah.
Okay. So
I'm going to go with that because
he picked Monica Palermo. Yep. Palermo. We're butchering your name, but you know what?
It starts with the P at the end.
Yeah, you just got a toolkit. So all you do, Monica, is you send an email to either askknowyourgear.com or at gmail.com or the PMcKnight7. It'll, I'll make sure it's linked when the videos are uploaded, or any of my videos have a way to get to me. But again, askknowyourgear at gmail.com and put, that you're the winner of the thing, and we'll get this out to you. I'll mail it out to you Monday or Tuesday, depending on,
This is the last time I get to pick a winner.
Yeah, and this is the last time we'll do this. But here's the thing. The thing is, I want to do more of this kind of stuff, do giveaways and stuff like that. We'll keep it fun, right? More tool stuff. Like I said, you're going to be seeing a lot more repair type content on the channel for a lot of reasons, and I wish I could tell you one of them, but unfortunately, I can't disclose what's going on with repair stuff right now. But I promise it's exciting. Okay, and then we're in the second half of the thing. Let's go ahead and clean up the super chats, and then we'll grab a couple questions, and then we'll call it a day. Steve Long says, hey, Phil and Ralph, I have a Kramer recently replaced the Floyd. Oh, we already did this. Oh, no, we replaced the Floyd with a brass block. Oh. Seems the sustain has diminished. Any suggestions? I literally am going to make my friend nuts right now. Anyways, I have a friend who's like hardcore about brass blocks and sustain. And I trust him deeply. I've said this before, but I've never heard it. So, and when I say never heard it, I don't know what I'm hearing. You know what I mean? So when I put a brass block on a bridge, I don't know if I ever hear anything.
Yeah, you're told like, oh, because the brass, there's more mass, it should sustain longer.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the science,
the science is kind of like,
yeah. When you read it, you're like, okay, it makes more sense. More mass is changes the way it is. But I don't know. So the thing is, and you know what? And I don't want to say I don't hear a difference. Let's just say that what I hear is so minimal, I don't understand. If it's worth my time. It's not even the $30 for the brass block. It's the time to do it. So I guess, Steve, if you're saying you really don't notice it, or have you seen it's diminished? What I can tell you is, and I said this before, I once put a titanium block on my Strat because I wanted to lighten the weight load on it. It cost $90. Might have been aluminum. I don't think it was titanium, it was aluminum. It was $90. And that I noticed. Like the note, there was a different tonality to the strings. There was a brightness. I don't know, something happened. But the good news is you can put it back. I have the same problem, with Paul Reed Smith guitars. Everybody loves the really crazy expensive bridges. I like their cheap SE bridges. In fact, I don't know if I've said this here, but I know I've said it like on the Patreon thing. My expensive core PRS, I put the cheaper bridge in it. I like it. I like steel over brass. That's, you know what I mean? So there you go. And then Joseph says, hey, Phil, any experience with Lindy Fralin pickups? I've installed a ton of Lindy Fralin pickups, and they are great. I have not heard a bad one yet in my personal experience. So there you go. Brian Stewart says, when you started, did you take pro lessons? Did you start with lessons?
No. And I've developed a lot of really bad habits because of it.
Yes. Brian, I started out taking guitar lessons. And the way I took lessons was, you showed up every week to the store with your $10. It was $10 back then. And you gave them $10 for 30 minutes. And then sometimes my mom and dad, especially, my mom really, sometimes my mom didn't have $10. So I didn't go that week. So I would go as many times as she would give me the $10. You know what I mean? It was, you know what I mean? And back in my life, how it worked was you could always tell when it was not a good time to ask the parents. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I'm not going to ask for money right now. But I would go as often as I could. However, when I took up bass, then I started taking bass lessons and I got serious about it. So that's what happened. And I became a bass player the same way all bass players become bass player. I was a failed guitar player. Literally, I wanted to be in a band. They needed a bass player, and I wanted to be in their band. So I sold a bunch of guitar gear and went down to the store and traded it. Sold it and traded it for a bass rig and a bass amp. Actually, to be honest, I took my bass guitar. I had a bass guitar. It was a really cheap one, and a PA because I had a PA. And so I went to the audition and plugged my bass into my PA. I was like, here's my PA. Maybe it looks stupid. I don't know. I didn't think about it at the time. I didn't care. 2 PA cabinets and a mixer. My bass goes into it, and I just played. And they're like, yeah, you're hired. And so then I took the PA and the guitar stuff and a guitar amp and down to the store, and I bought a bass amp and a better bass. And that's how I become a bass player. And then this is funny how psychology works. When I was in the band, they liked me. Obviously, I was accepted in the audition, but the psychology was they would tell me all the time that their old bass player was much better, but he moved away. And so it would get under my skin, right? Because it was always like the weirdest compliment to give me, like, Phil, that sounded great. Remember Jesse? He was so good. And then you'd be like, what are they saying? And they would tell me all the time, and so it was like, it just became this thing. So I started taking lessons and improving. And I don't know. There you go. Competition always breeds something. So let's see. Mike says, hey, any experience with the Fender Aerodyne bass? Yeah, I've played it. Have you played the Aerodyne?
Yeah.
Are you a fan?
I did like it. It was a cool bass. It was a little bit differently shaped on the thickness of the body, if I'm thinking of the right bass.
Right.
Which messed with my head a little bit because I was used to the actual jazz bass. But no, I like the Aerodyne bass. It's a nice bass. I thought it played good. I got nothing against it.
My thing is, when they first came out, they came in blue, red, and black. And I thought it'd be cool to get I think they were using a silver or gray. I could be wrong. But anyways, then what happened was, they only go do black now. But the Aerodyne that I've always kind of wanted but it's only available in Japan. They make a 32-inch scale, medium scale bass. So a lot of you guys know I play my main jazz bass, but my other basses, my Stu Hamm and my Custom Warwick, they're 32-inch scale, which is considered medium scale bass, something I really like. So I would like to get a medium scale Aerodyne. The BC Rich 581 says, Phil, bass amps, yes or no? No.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
No, I don't use a bass amp anymore. Isn't that funny? I don't use a bass amp ever anymore. I try every once in a while to buy another bass amp. I go, I got a Phil Jones amp and it crapped out. That really pissed me off. When you buy a $700 little amp that only lasts like a few months, you're like, and the thing that actually got under my skin was when I reached out to them, they said, oh, we already think we know what it is. Send it to us. And I'm like, what? So I hate it when companies they make a defective product and then they're aware of it. You know what I mean? And then they're like, yeah, we'll fix it for you. And I'm like, well, that's the minimum you can do. You know what I mean? What can you do more than that? Considering I spent premium money, I thought I was buying something better than that. So here's the funny part. It sits now in my garage rotting. And I bought I went out that day and I bought a $150 Rumble that works just as good. But funny enough, I don't use an amp because I have a preamp and I keep it in my backpack or in my gig bag. And when I go jam with people, you just plug into that. I mean, no one. It's like bass amps. Just you don't need bass amps anymore.
They look cool on stage if you're playing out, though. I don't say that.
Yes, and you know what? Reza Khan says try the Made in Japan Aerodyne Strats. I thought the Aerodyne Strats were cool too. You know what? This is a thing that you guys got to watch out for. You'll make yourself crazy if you go on and look at the Japanese-made Fender stuff that's not available in the U.S.
Look at all the cool stuff.
It's all the cool stuff.
It is all the cool stuff you would ever want.
Yep, and then every once in a while you can find them selling it to you through eBay, but they're not supposed to. They're not supposed to send it back to the U.S. or sell it to the U.S. But So, Slab just did a super chat to say thank you. And Eddie says, can you teach a quick riff every week? You know, that's a good thought. If I do that, so, you know, if I was to do a quick riff every week, or if I was to teach anything, I kind of like maybe doing the Instagram format. What do you guys think of that? Because Instagram's like your 1 minute video.
Yeah.
And Instagram is a funny thing. I keep trying to put more content on Instagram. And one thing I like about Instagram is the 1 minute format. You know what I mean? And it's interesting. So, you know, because there's nothing in it financially, you know, I mean, when I make, you know, when you make a couple bucks off making a YouTube video, you make money, but when you put it on Instagram, you don't make anything. But that's not the point. The point is I like the format. So maybe do something like that. You know what? That's a good suggestion, Eddie. I like that. So then, you know what? I'm kind of, since we're in bonus time, I'm just going to hit a couple of these because I like it when Ralph's here to do these. DJ says 594, the PRS 594 or Les Paul Standard. Which one you go? Go.
594.
See, I pick Les Paul Standard.
That's because I've never found a Les Paul that I liked.
DJ, you should buy the 594, but mine. Because I'm going to sell mine. I love the 594, but I like Les Paul Standard better. So
I think the Les Paul's a more iconic guitar.
You know what it is for me? It's the neck, man. The 594 neck's just really thick. And you know, I thought about this. It's kind of funny. Some of my favorite Les Pauls I've ever owned had the 50s necks, but I don't like the 50s neck. And I got rid of them because I don't like the neck. And then here I am with a 594 with the same neck. And then I'm like, oh, it sounds so great. I'm like, well, right. So does all the guitars with the thicker necks. Why don't I just go get a Gibson again? But you know, the reality for me is this. I have two Les Pauls, but I have one really nice Les Paul and I have one really nice 594 from PRS. And I was just telling you today, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't play either one, so I want to get rid of them both and get a Les Paul play. And I'm thinking about just getting a Les Paul Studio because I think what happens is kind of like my Strat mentality, kind of like my, you know, like I said, I like PRS, but I play the cheapest PRSs they make. Just not because they're cheap, just because that's what I gravitate to. So I think with Les Pauls, I think where I've been messing up this whole time is I think I just need a studio. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm just drawn to the guitars that, you know, what I call medium options, right? They're not decked out. They're not.
It's not the bare bones, but.
Yeah, because for me, a lot of guitar playing is about comfort because if it's not comfortable, I won't pick it up. And I really, now that I've had this SG, really enjoying the SG. So there you go. So yeah, these like A/B questions are great. I like that, especially with Ralph here, because then we can kind of get two inputs. So if you guys got you want to do a quick run of like A/B questions, do that. In the meantime, Ramiro just did a super chat. You guys, yeah, I appreciate the super chat. I'm sure it's because there was a comment earlier, but don't do that stuff. You know, like I said, the super chats are great, but you know, if you have a question, you want to make sure it gets, you know, I understand the logic of paying a couple bucks to get it sorted to the top. I try to be as fair as I can with all that stuff, but you know, you don't have to tip, even though you know, it's appreciated, but you don't have to do it. Okay, what else? What else do you? Oh, you know what? Dan Lopez 2012 says, "Did you sell the $500 Les Paul Studio?" I did. The one I got at
Sam Ash.
Sam Ash. I kept it for a little over a year, and then I sold it. And you know, there is same thing. I just didn't play it. That's what it was. So there you go. And the funny thing is, I'll tell you too, the price on those things shot up to crazy amounts. When I bought it for $400, they were going for about $400 or $500. That's what they were going for. Everybody to this day, when I watch the comments on the videos, they're like, this video is fake. And I'm like, well, it probably feels that way now that they're worth $800-900, but back then they were $400 or $500. And so I sold it. I made money on it, which is the point of when you collect to do that. However, what I did in all fairness was, even though I know where they were on the top end, I put mine below that price point in the middle, in the sweet spot. So I made a little money on it, and I didn't gouge the guy who got it. So I'm sure he loves it. It was great. Chris Sarantos wants to know, Ralph, what's the best guitar you've ever played?
The best guitar that's tough. I don't know. I don't know by like the best individual guitar that I've ever played. It's probably going to be your Framus, because I think it's probably also the most expensive electric guitar I've ever played.
What's funny is,
but it's great. It's amazing. But after a couple of minutes, you get sick of it.
Yeah, that Framus, perfect. He just said it perfectly, guys. So you know, I hand that Framus to everybody, including some friends that work at PRS. Everybody I hand that Framus to, I bought, when they play it, their first reaction is, "This is the best guitar I've ever played, hands down." And then, like he said, and about 15 minutes later, like, "Okay, that was cool," and then no interest to ever play it again. It's like you can appreciate the craftsmanship that made it play so easy, but you realize that it's something that you weren't looking for. You're not looking for a guitar that plays easier or better than already easy to play.
Like, I'm not good enough to play this guitar the way it's meant to be played. But other than that, it's just going back to a normal Strat. That's what I gravitate. Some guys gravitate to Strats, some guys gravitate to Les Pauls.
Yes.
I just just a Strat with a good setup, and I'm happy.
And then Blues Bunker says Z-Sound sells some of the made in Japan Fenders. Well, some of the made in Japan Fenders are available in the U.S. The Richie Kotzen is available in the U.S. There are made in Japan Fenders. When we're saying made in Japan, we don't just mean they're made in Japan.
They're made for the Japanese
they're
market.
Made for the Japanese market. Google what I'm talking about. You'll see what I'm saying. Like, they do. So, everybody does it. There's a lot of companies out there that make guitars just for the Japanese market, and they're outrageous and crazy. They have crazy graphics and colors.
And the cool paints.
And cool paint jobs and different scale lengths and stuff. I mean, they just do crazy stuff. They're fun. Peter says, do you have a dedicated practice area, or do I play in the video room? I'll let you ask this too. Do you have a dedicated practice area that you have?
It's wherever the guitar's at. To me, that's where I'm at. I'm like, yeah, my practice area is wherever I have a guitar, and I'm good to go.
Yes. So to answer your question, I do. The main area I practice in is my bedroom, which is the room. If you watch any of the videos, probably forever, until one day you saw me in this room. This is my office. This is where I work. And I used to not have stuff in here because I would have to come here to work. And what happened was I was making the videos, as you guys know, in my bedroom, which is where I like to play. I have a corner in the bedroom that I just have. If you guys don't know already, I'll just keep saying it. So my whole house is guitars. Like, they're everywhere. Now, my wife doesn't care. I'm just, okay. I don't want to throw anything under the bus. So when he said that, so just you can put a disclosure. What does she care about?
Cases. Guitar cases.
She hates guitar cases, and she hates guitars laying around.
Yes.
Right? Yes. So my wife does, as long as they're hanging or neat, she doesn't care, but she doesn't care. But here's the thing. No, so I still practice in the bedroom there because it's comfortable for me. And I have a ritual that I do. I get up in the morning and I play guitar. Like, that's the first thing I do, right? I get up and it's like I start warming up my hands and I play guitar or bass, both usually, but mostly bass. But anyways, I play, and then I get ready and go do my day. And then throughout the day, I might go in there and play. But at the end of the day, I always, before I go to bed, I play for like an hour. So I go and play. And it's like in fact, my wife, it's funny. It's like a what do you call it? Not a habit, but a ritual. Like, I go upstairs and I start playing guitar, and when I start playing guitar, like that's the 1 hour notice to my wife that, whatever she's doing downstairs, she knows she has like an hour until bedtime. Does it make sense? Because she knows because she's, doesn't want to go to sleep when I'm rocking out guitar in the bedroom. This is dumb. But anyways, although sometimes she does. Sometimes she's like, I'm sorry, I'm just tired. She goes to sleep and I'm still playing guitar and bass and stuff. But that's where I like to play. In fact, I don't like to come in here very often because what happens to me now is if I come in this room, I work. I come out with I have the best intentions to come in here and go, hey, I think I'll just practice some scales or learn this song, and I pull out the stuff, and then I look over and I go, oh, I really should probably review this Super Overdrive. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you just can't help it. You're like, well, I might as well turn on the cameras. You know what I mean? Or I come over to the computer and I start answering emails. I said this, I'll say this to you guys. Being a YouTuber is really about doing emails. If you hate doing emails, you would hate this gig. Slab, and then we'll cut it. Slab says, Seymour Duncan's quarter pounders and the Squire Tele thoughts. Love them. The quarter pounders for me have those that I don't want to say P90, but the P90 punch, man. That's what I like about them. So funny you said that. I was thinking about putting quarter pounders in my Tele. In fact, the bluish, the seafoam green Tele right now has the Billy Gibbons BG 1400 set in there. I really like that set, but I think I'm looking for something just slightly different than that. But I want to see what happens when I get this humbucker Tele that's coming in. So there you go. But that's, I love the quarter pounders. I like them for Strat, but I like them in the bridge. A lot of people that have installed quarter pounders for in Strats, they put them in the bridge and then not in the neck in the middle. And I think that sounds good. Okay, and on that note, go back here or go back the other way.
Yeah, where you were.
Oh, Hobbs 247 says, make a random comment a staple of KYG. Yeah, right. It could be a thing. That's a good idea, Hobbs. I thought about doing some cool giveaways when I do the 5 gear video review. Like maybe I'll say a word, and then you guys, because you guys watch the live show, that the word means to put your the word, type that word in there or whatever. I could be like the word of the week. And then I thought about it, I go, isn't that the Pee Wee Herman show? And I couldn't do it. But so the reality is the 5 products that I review a week now in that video. I really like that format. I hope you guys enjoy it too. Because if you don't, I'm probably going to still do it for a little while because I enjoy it. It's a lot more work to do, but I just like the montage idea of products, right? It's just, instead of just every week being, a pedal or whatever, maybe see some other stuff. And then also I get to put some stuff in there that I think is cool. Like to me, I love talking about the lutherie tools, but necessarily I don't think you guys will click on them. But I think in that format, I think you guys have been exposed to a lot of products that you normally wouldn't have been exposed to. But I'd like to do a giveaway because a lot of those companies send me the product and I do giveaways, and I'm about to do some giveaways for the patrons as well. So I thought, okay, I'll do the patrons and then I'll do some for the regular community, but we'll figure that out. Like I said. And let's finish on a good question and a comment. There was a lot of you guys hanging out today, and then me and Ralph are gonna go barbecue. Yeah, see, yeah, Ian says, you know what to do when you hear the secret word. Yeah, you know what? Leave suggestions. Leave me an idea. That, tell me what you think of that idea, but tell me if you guys have any better ideas. You guys do so great. The other thing I have a problem with, you, so if you guys can help with, the problem I'm having with the 5 gear review, I called it 5 review. I don't know what to call it. Somebody put a comment this week, and I thought they were really spot on. They said, I enjoyed this video, but I'm really confused. Like, I didn't know what I was clicking into. And yeah, how do I tell people what it is? I was calling it Know Your Gear review, like like Know Your Gear show, like that pedal show, or right, kind of like it's just a show once a week. I thought maybe that'd be the idea, but I think that added confusion too. So if you guys have any cool ideas, you guys are the ones that came up with the Sharpen My Axe. You guys seem to like that title as well. If you come up with a cool title for the show, I'd like to do it because it's like, this is the QA, you know what I mean? Then you have Sharpen My Axe, and then I'd like to have the reviews, instead of calling them reviews, call it something else. You know what I mean? buy this crap. Right? I don't know. Right? So you guys know, a little fun fact. I've learned a little trick for me personally. If you want to get ideas rolling, if you ever always throw out a worst idea. Right? Ralph knows this. I've been saying this for years. I'm going to leave you on a very non-guitar thing, so you guys know. I've learned that if anytime you want to get people thinking, just give a horrible idea, because people react to horrible ideas very, very strongly. And the reason this is an effective tool is here's what happens. If you're ever in a group of people and they go, what do you want to eat tonight? And they go, I don't know. What do you want to eat? And they go, I don't know. What do you want to eat? You know what you do? Give the worst possible, like, let's go to Taco Bell, but only eat off the dollar menu. Like, literally give the worst idea you can think of, right? And here's what happens. Instead of everybody talking for 30 minutes about what they want, they go, no, I would rather go to Red Lobster. I'm like, okay, Red Lobster. Like, I would, yeah. They'll go, I'll rather go. Right. You can get people really thinking if you give them a bad idea. So buy this crap is my bad idea. And then you guys hopefully will come up with a good idea. So there you go. Anything you want to say before we go?
No. I think it's that. And that's pretty much it. You know, pick the worst idea and let the people figure it out.
Yes. Bellin says, I love Taco Bell. See? Yeah. Then you love the idea.
So we could have gone to Taco Bell then.
It could have been, right. It could have been all.
It could have been over. We could have just gone to Taco Bell. Would have been good.
Yes. See? Shaman Blues. I vote the Taco Bell show. Yeah. Taco Bell might have a problem with that.
Yeah, well, they'll be fine.
Yeah. So, you know, I should point this out too. So, you know, I only picked Taco Bell in the joke because one of my really close friends owns a bunch of Taco Bells, and he's a sweetheart and he's an awesome guy, and I like to bust his chops. So
that's the difference between Taco Bell and a Wiener Schnitzel. We're going to one of them.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. We're going to regret it later anyways.
Yeah. I think if you ate Taco Bell and Wiener Schnitzel on the same day, you die.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So, Know Your Gear is Fab 5. See, right? Loving the ideas, guys. Like I said, anything you guys can do to come up with ideas, help out, especially when I'm looking for something that will help me, you know, convey what this is. And I'm looking forward to some stuff. I'll see you guys next week. Maybe we can get Ralph to join us again. Obviously, I love having him come on and hang out, talk gear. And I really appreciate you guys today. You guys were super awesome. And enjoy the rest of your weekend. And if you learned anything from today, it's that as soon as you turn off your computer right now, go practice. Go play guitar. And then and Jim wants you to know to go to Taco Bell.
Oh. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim. That's so you know, in $10 in Taco Bell, that's like you eat like a king.
Yeah.
So all right, guys. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
And know your gear.
And know your gear.